back for another fantastic episode of Southern Indiana Now. I'm your host, Kelly Trask, and along with our producer, Erica Malone. She's behind the scenes today, making sure everything runs smooth. And of course, we are happy to have our special guest with us, Rex Boyles. And of course, he is under our headline today of Hoosier Homestead. So we're definitely love to feature life in Southern Indiana, what it looks like, what it sounds like. And that's good. We're going to hear more about that from Rex as we go throughout the show today. And also, if you're not in Southern Indiana, maybe you're listening from a completely other state, you need to understand that we love our music here in Southern Indiana. And Rex is going to talk more about the Bill Monroe Museum and Bean Blossom, as well as some of the music festivals. So Rex is with Bill Monroe's Music Park and Campground in Bean Blossom. So yes, we have a town in Southern Indiana called Bean Blossom. Let's talk about that, Rex. Where's it located? What are you guys doing over there? And how is it so important to our culture and history in Southern Indiana?
Well, we're in Brown County. We're about 5 miles north of Little Nashville. Bean Blossom is known nationwide. Mr. Monroe, Bill Monroe, bought the place in 1951. It started in 1939. So he's held Bluegrass Festival. It's the oldest bluegrass festival going for, it'd be 60 years this year in the world.
Wow, that's fantastic. So let's talk about, you have an event coming up at the Bluegrass Festival happening in June. Got a lot of crazy artists you're going to be featuring. Those Bluegrass Festivals are super fun. Let's talk about the event and how people can get tickets.
You can go to billmonroemusicpark.com and order your tickets, or you can call the office at area code 812-988-6422. This is the longest going Bluegrass Festival going. We have a free bean dinner. We have over 30 acts on the main stage. And this is kind of like the ground of bluegrass where everybody comes. We usually have 8 or 10 countries come there. We probably have 40, 50 people from different states that come into there. It's just a really known place. And Mr. Monroe is the one that started this out.
All right. So Rex, tell us more about the campground, the whole area, how it got started. How did his upbringing in Kentucky kind of shape this venue in Southern Indiana?
Well, Mr. Monroe was born in Rosine, Kentucky, and he lived with his Uncle Penn after his mom and dad passed away when he was 15, 16 years old. When he got around 17, 18, he moved to northern Indiana in Hammond, Indiana, to work in the steel mills. Mm-hmm. So when he worked in the oil, he worked for Standard Oil. When he worked up there, he would come down to Bean Blossom and play the old barn dances. And he enjoyed the place so much, he purchased it in 1951.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know you've been there a super long time. Can you share us some personal stories or interactions with Bill and how that's been a fun journey?
Mr. Monroe, I worked for him and Birch. Birch Monroe was his older brother. And when I was a kid, we would go down there and weed whack. And Mr. Monroe, he was probably 60 at the time. He would jump right in with us kids and just try to work us to death, like, I can still do it, boys, And so,
we just need you to sing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So he was a real nice man. He was always good, courteous to us kids, and was just a good, outstanding old country gentleman.
Yeah, I love it. So how did his influence kind of shape the Bluegrass Music Festival that you put on?
Well, you got to realize Mr. Monroe, everybody knows Lester Flats, Earl Scruggs. They was all, Bill Monroe got them started into the business, and
right.
You got to realize everybody, when he was at his highest in the late 40s, everybody was listening to him, from Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, which we have all their stuff there in the museum. A big influence of Elvis Presley's was Bill Monroe. The first song Elvis ever cut at Sun Records was Blue Moon in Kentucky. So, that put, and Elvis called Mr. Monroe to ask him if he could sing that song.
Yeah. So if someone's visiting Bean Blossom for the first time, what should they absolutely not miss if they want to really check it off their list? Like, I understand bluegrass music now.
They got to go in the museum.
Okay.
We have over 50 suits in there, dresses, of different people, everybody from
I
country
understand you have
music.
Dolly Parton's dress in that museum.
Dolly Parton's
Yeah.
dress is in there. She gave it to Mr. Monroe in 1984.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Johnny Cash, George Jones, Ralph Stanley's, all the greats.
Yeah, I love that. And plus, if people love to camp, which I know that a lot of folks do in Southern Indiana, they can do that as well at your venue. Talk more about that.
We have a full campground. We have full sites, water, sewer, and electric. And then we have primitive, and people come there. We have over 300 sites with all our primitive sites, and they come and camp there for the festival because it's usually a 4-day festival with our other festivals that we have. So they'll come there, camp there. You bring your picnic lunches. You sit out on the hill, throw your blanket out, your lawn chairs, and you can listen to the best music there is.
We've got a lot of things going on here in Southern Indiana. Bean Blossom is definitely a place you need to check out. How can people get there, Rex? What's the best way if they're coming from Northern Indiana or even maybe Kentucky area?
It's 65. Get on 65. Get off at the exit at Columbus. Go right into Little Nashville. Go north of Little Nashville, and we're right on 135. It's just something really, if you want to see the history of country music, bluegrass music, even rock and roll. Buddy Holly said there would be no rock and roll if it wasn't for Bill Monroe.
Okay, look at that. Love a little fun little saying. All right, we'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. Hey, if you'd like to find more information out about Bill Monroe's museum or other things happening in Bean Blossom, we did a special favor. We did an extended edition of the show, so you can check that out on our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, you can check all of that out in just a special feature related to just that content. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're super happy to talk with Jane Vonderheide. She's with House of Jane, located in Madison, which is a short drive in Southern Indiana. But Jane, let's talk about the story behind the House of Jane. What is it, and what inspired you to get started?
The House of Jane actually is a barbershop and an art gallery and a music venue.
Definitely understand it is a unique venue, so I'm glad you did describe all the things people can find there. It's such a fun combination of businesses. Can you tell everybody how it got started?
Well, I've been a barber for 28 years, and I've worked in various barbershops in Madison and in Hanover, Indiana. But about 7 years ago, it was 2018, I had the opportunity to buy this building on Main Street, and that's where I decided to relocate my own barbershop. I work by myself. It gave me the opportunity to create my own space and do whatever I wanted in my space.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk about the House of Jane songwriter sessions as it relates to music here in Southern Indiana. And how does that work and how people can get connected?
The House of Jane songwriter sessions I have started doing in 2019. It is a very intimate evening with usually 2 songwriters playing their original music, and in my barbershop. And it's an audience of about 30 people. I sell tickets online at MadPick, which is a ticketing hub out of Madison.
How often do you have artists in?
Well, I started out doing it once a month, but during COVID, of course, we couldn't do them. And then as we got back into them, right now I have them about once a month. Sometimes I skip a month.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Where can people listening get a schedule of when they can find out when your events are?
They can follow House of Jane Songwriter Sessions online on Facebook or Instagram. And I also have a website that I believe is houseofjaneMadisonIN.com.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how does the songwriter sessions kind of contribute to the broader arts and cultural scene in Southern Indiana? So I know you're kind of part of shaping that experience, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I don't think anybody's really doing anything quite like what I'm doing in this region. As a matter of fact, really, a lot of the songwriters tell me that. They don't have this kind of opportunity very often to play such an intimate room and have such an attentive audience. I do know that there are some house concerts around, like the Busby Brothers do in Seymour, which are really great, by the way. It's not quite the same and not quite as intimate. So I guess my series is unique.
Yeah.
So it adds another facet to the arts and culture in this area.
Yeah. Well, I love that there's so many different ways that you can experience music, and that is definitely part of the heart of Southern Indiana. And of course, you can, if you need a haircut, that's also a place to go. So thank you. Exactly. Thank you so much, Jane, for being part of the Southern Indiana Now podcast. You can check them out on their website if you want to get connected to those songwriter sessions, and she has a schedule available for you online. And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. We are very honored to have in the studio with us today. We have Kae with us and part of Crossroads Acoustic Fest, which I do need to mention is a sponsor of the Southern Indiana Now podcast. You can get your tickets for this festival happening at the end of the month of April on a Friday night and a Saturday night. So you get to choose your listening experience. There's going to be a lot of great singer-songwriters that we're going to be featuring as we get a little bit closer to the actual event. But we want you to go ahead and get your tickets now. If you haven't been to this event, super awesome, intimate setting. You get to hear the heart behind the songs, the stories that make those moments. And of course, we're here to also dive a little bit deeper into one of the artists that's going to be performing there. We have Kae with us, of course. And Kae, tell us a little bit about what night you're going to be there and what people will experience when they choose to come hear you in their listening room.
Yeah, so I am playing on Saturday night, but I will also be down there Friday night listening to all the other artists. Whenever you come to listen, it's going to be more like a songwriters round. So I'm going to be playing with Tommy Day, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go back and forth and do a couple originals.
Okay. I love that. So you've been playing music since the 3rd grade?
Yes.
That's just a minute. Of course, you're still young, but what inspired you to pick up an instrument?
So I've grown up around music, basically. My dad was a musician. He still is, but he doesn't play out much anymore. Mm-hmm. So I lived in Nashville till I was around 8 years old. He was in a couple different bands. I've just always loved music. I've always made up my own songs and stuff. And I actually started playing guitar only 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago.
Okay.
Started on piano, then ukulele, and I finally picked up the guitar, and I haven't put it down since.
Yeah, I love it. You found it.
I did.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about some of the stories that inspired some of your music.
Well, so my mom likes to say that I'm a storyteller because I have a very big imagination. Mm-hmm. Most of my songs don't even correspond with any life events that I've ever had. They're most stories about like other people. Mm-hmm. I like to put myself into other people's shoes and write about like stories like that.
Okay, I love that from your perspective. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, can you give us a little bit of a set list sneak peek into what people might hear?
Well, still working on it, but I will be playing my song Goes to You, obviously. That's one that a lot of people who listen to me know that one. I'm working on recording it, so I'll hopefully have it out by the end of the year, if not then soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have, I think, 3 more songs that I'm going to add, but
okay,
I'm not really sure yet.
So you're going to have several that they're going to get to hear. Okay, so your set list is definitely more than one.
Yes.
All right, good. I figured since you had probably notebooks full.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to be playing a few.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the music projects that you have in the works, and where can people go to get more information about your songs if they want to listen to your stuff, specifically?
Yeah, so I do not currently have any music out on like Spotify or Apple Music yet. I'm working on it. We're just trying to figure out recording studios and stuff like that. But if you do want to listen to my music, I am on TikTok my username's kind of funny. It's Big Baller K Rose with 2 E's at the end. And then my Instagram is Kae Grube Music.
Yeah. Well, between radio and social media, there's a lot of opportunity for new artists to be found. So you don't have to always, dive in the deep water for people to find you. So that's perfectly sure. If you could collaborate with any kind of local, national, or regional artist and be like, hey, I want to be your opener, who would that be?
Well, I'm a huge Swiftie. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Stephanie Lambring.
Yeah.
Yes,
she's local.
One of my very favorites. Huge inspiration to me. Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
Love Phoebe Bridgers.
So a lot of good local connections.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. So definitely check out Kae. She's going to be part of a Crossroads Acoustic Fest coming up, located in Seymour. That's downtown Seymour, Indiana. So you can get your tickets online by going to crossroadsacousticfest.com, and you can get connected with all the artists there. We'll be back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. back with you on Southern Indiana Now, and we're super excited to be hanging out with Mark Maxwell with Maxwell's House of Music. Of course, we're featuring him as part of our Hoosier Happening segment because there's something always happening with this guy in this place. So let's talk about it.
Yes, that's so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, absolutely.
You're a go-getter. I like you.
I'm telling you.
It's a good thing.
You've got the studio, so I didn't think we should need to hang out here.
Well, I know we kind of built this to do this, right?
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of a music store, so it's probably going to be phones ringing and people yelling stuff, but, you know, it's going to be great.
Yeah, so we are definitely wanting to talk about the heart behind Maxwell's House of Music, why you started it, how kids can get connected to music, why it's so important, and how you've been shaping Southern Indiana. This is what this show's all about, life in Southern Indiana.
Get it.
So if someone's not from here, or even if they are, tell us about the impact that you've had here, as well as just the love of music.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a musical family, and my dad opened a music store called Mom's Music, and so this was a Mom's Music location here in Jeffersonville for a long time. But I knew eventually he was going to sell it. I couldn't afford to really buy it, so I was like, I'll just branch off and do my own thing. So that's how Maxwell started, and it kind of about 2011. And so over the last several years, we've just kind of grown into this really big, kind of crazy place.
Yeah.
This is an old movie theater here in Jeffersonville, and so there's 4 movie theaters in here, and each one has their thing. We have education, we have our big stage in the back, we have a lot of drums and sound systems and lots of guitars, etc., keyboards, etc. So we have 400 plus students in our lineup, which is fantastic. And so I don't know. I mean, I do music because it's what I've always done. I grew up as a kid and watched the Monkees and the Partridge Family on TV, and my dad played drums and he worked at a music store, so it's always been in our family to play music, and pretty much everybody in my family sings or plays or does something like that. So, and then my brother and I have a band. He plays drums and I sing in a band called the Crashers. So we just it's
kind of famous,
Well, I mean, it's a fun band for sure, and it's done done well. So, but I just I don't know. I mean, we have a great staff that cares about people learning to play music here. Matter of fact, that's one of our things. Maxwell's House of Music. We create musicians, right? We want people to play music. We feel like it's just as important as anything else in the world. So.
So if you're talking to maybe a parent of a kid who thinks, you know what, someday I want to be like Mark Maxwell. Someday I want to be in a band. Someday I want to own my own business. Whatever that case is.
Yeah.
How do they get started?
Well, and that's the thing is I have a lot of people that come in here and their kid wants to play music, right? And so that happens where they come in or they've started their career and they've decided that they want to go to college. And so I have a lot of conversations with kids and families about this. But really, I think everyone should give it a shot, no matter what it is. I think every parent should allow their kid to have a real shot at this. And then it's my job not to break their spirit, right? In other words, to really convince them that they can do this, because so many people, as adults, you talk to them and you say, hey, do you play an instrument? And they'll go, oh, no, I could never do that. And it's not true. Anybody can do this, right? And anybody can learn to sing and play, and so I think we just encourage them to do so and to try to find out what they're good at, whether it is playing a horn instrument or violin or string instrument of some sort, or drums or guitar or keyboards or whatever. A lot of people play at church, some play at their schools, but we're always encouraging of those people, to keep doing their thing. That's and the thing is, it's so weird is that there's not many music stores around here left. There used to be a ton, and it's just hard to make a living in retail, right? Our education's a little bit easier because we have great teachers, but it's always been just a little bit of a hard thing to do.
How do they get connected with a teacher? How do you match them?
Yeah, so what happens is usually we tell them to come in and just take a look around and just kind of get comfortable in the room. And then if they're a beginner, we'll let them sit down and play drums or whatever they want to do, play keyboard or guitar. Try to just, one, match them up with the right instrument. Two is then try to figure out what they're looking for out of this whole thing. So if you came to me and said, I really love classical music, okay, so this is maybe the right teacher for you. Or I like to play blues music, okay, here's the right. So getting the right fit is everything. I mean, that is everything. It's, in school, there were teachers that you liked and really spoke your language. That's what we're trying to do, is to match up that teacher for anybody, whether it's the adult, which is, that's the second thing. Everyone thinks it's kids that take lessons here. It is, but we have as many adults now taking lessons, right?
So fun fact, I took piano lessons here when I was pregnant. So there you go. And I'm just like, you know what? This is something I've always wanted to do.
And you did it.
Do it, and there's no time like the present.
That's fantastic.
So I'm just going to do that. Yeah.
That's great.
Super love. Everyone can get connected, and with Maxwell's House of Music, you can give him a call, find him online, of course.
Maxwell'sHouseofmusic.com, right? That's one thing. Our phone number is 812, write this down, 283-3304, but just look up Maxwell's House of Music.
Yes. The bottom line is, if you want a taste of Southern Indiana, you definitely need a trip to Maxwell's House of Music.
You do.
There's so much happening in Southern Indiana. We want to make sure that you stay connected. And there's a few events you need to get on your calendar that's happening in and around the area. First of all, April 5th coming up in New Albany at 6 o'clock. We have the Metal AF Armored Fighting. That's a witness intense real combat between skilled fighters clad in metal armor. Okay, that was a new one. North Vernon Main Street hosting Color Your Town. That's a 5K friendly 5K. So you can walk, run, jog through downtown. You can saunter, whatever you'd like to do, but you can definitely get covered of bursts of bright colors. You're going to want to check that out April 12th. That's downtown at 6 o'clock. Coming up in Harrison County, you have the Harrison County Historical Society going to host the unveiling of its brand new publication, This Is Our Hometown. So super exciting. That's coming up. 2 dates for that, April 5th and April 26th from 10 to 4 on that Indian Creek walking trail. Keep it right here on Southern Indiana Now for these events and more. And we're back on Southern Indiana Now, and we are super honored to have a special guest with us in the studio. And we have meteorologist Jeremy Capel with us, and we are so honored to have him. He is a Louisville area meteorologist as well as a film producer, has done several documentary products that have to deal with weather in Southern Indiana and the tri-state area. So we're going to talk about all that as we go throughout, but wanted to feature Jeremy, and just really grateful that he's spending his time because weather is unique to Southern Indiana. And with that, I know that you've studied weather, super amazing part of your time, but also what are some things that make the climate unique in Southern Indiana?
Yeah, well, we're just kind of right there, kind of the melting pot of the nation, as is much of the Midwest here, but specifically where Indiana is. We've got that direct access to Gulf moisture for much of the year.
Super fun.
We've also got that direct access straight from the North Pole whenever, you get the cold fronts moving, and oftentimes we're just kind of in that right place to generate some pretty nasty storms. They seem to come in spurts around here.
They do.
And so far, it's been a pretty active spring.
It has. So speaking of that, we're honored that you're able to kind of give us an April advance look of what you think the weather's going to be, what we need to look for. We get these beautiful days like we're having today, and I'm thinking I want to put some plants in, but the other part of my brain knows we should not do that. So let's talk about what you think the weather's going to do for April.
Yeah. I think we're going to have an advanced growing season, and the reason I think that is because
you just made all our farmers happy.
The warm air began to come in a little quicker this year. That's why we had the early severe weather outbreaks earlier in March. So my expectation for April is that we will see more active severe weather because moisture is returning out of the Gulf of Mexico, high humidity days, big thunderstorm days is what I'm expecting through April. But because we got an early start to the season, we may slide into that summer pattern, maybe a little early this year. I'm targeting May for that.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking of things coming up around the corner with summer, I know Easter's right around the corner, and other people want to know, like, am I wearing short sleeve dresses or do I need to wear, long sleeves? So what do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, a short shot of cold air is still on the menu. It's still a possibility where you get a 1-2 day snap of some pretty chilly stuff. You could have highs in the 40s even this time of the year.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. But I think overall, we're going to have more warm days than cold days.
All right.
And they're going to interact with those storm systems that come and go.
Yeah.
Probably.
As long
pretty
as it means I
frequently.
don't have to mow very much. That's what I need the forecast to say.
It won't be long now, will it?
Yeah.
And
not
it's
getting away
terrible
from
when
it.
you have the longer growing season because now you're talking
Yeah.
about mowing for 8-9 months instead of,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I love it. If you'd like to do a deeper dive into weather, especially around southern Indiana, we want to connect you to Jeremy Capel, meteorologist. And of course, we did an extended interview on Jeremy with him. And of course, you can get connected to all of that information as far as weather goes and storms and histories of tornadoes, ones that have impacted our area and so much more. So you can check out our YouTube channel for that special feature just dedicated to weather right here at southernindiananow.com or on our YouTube channel. Hey, thanks so much for listening and, of course, watching us at Southern Indiana Now. Good reminder, you can check us out on our YouTube channel. Of course, you can find us all the places that podcasts are downloadable, and you can find us at our website at southernindiananow.com. Want to remind you, if you have content, ideas for stories, people on the move, anything part of our culture that we'd want to feature in Hoosier Homestead, and, of course, those special events, you can reach out to us on our website, send us an email, and we can get connected to you as well as your company, event, organization. We want to be in the know, so you can be too.